Hello everyone, this is Fantastic Worlds, welcoming you back to Lovecraft Country and our journey through the secret world. Now, here we're tying up the last loose end of the amusement park mission, in which we discovered a novella by the author Sam Krieg, aka this world's version of Stephen King perhaps, that detailed a monster that after read the book came to life. Now, considering that strange things are going on, an author, a horror author, whose writing is coming to life is probably a bad thing. After all, we are dealing with reality warping and eldritch abominations that require vessels in order to continue, shall we say, their practices of transforming this world. So it's probably some activity you should be checking out. However, as we approached the lighthouse, I noticed that, well, besides the ubiquitous zombies everywhere, slewing body. Sorry. Just trying to clear the air. Enough! We found that he found an unopened letter, which appears to be directed to Mr. Krieg. Now, let's see what we can find out about it. Dear reader, a written request for interview with Sam Krieg, signed Daniel Bach. Krieg is unlikely to meet the request. Well, if he's not dead, he's holed up in that lighthouse. But your associates might appreciate a sneak peek into the author's next project. It seems unlikely that Bach will get his interview. Perhaps your associates... That's just not good. Appreciate a few pages of discarded draft. The Krieg's planned novel, The Hidden World. Oh, that sounds familiar. Right then. Alright, so if there's a thing where his creations are trying to come to life, we should probably seize this stuff before... Ooh! Okay, what the heck was that? Crows again, eh? Alright then. I already know how to do this. Okay, down the path. This is a nice little park down here, even if the company's kind of bad. And another mutilated corpse, great. Way back for you. And a wrecked car. Ah, there's the next ravens. Down here by the barns. Barn is usually a bad sign in this neighborhood, considering what happened last time. Well, we're getting a good jog anyways. Ah, another reverend. Ah, you guys just infest this place. Okay, then. We've got the pages, but nothing from Kristen about it. Okay, so that's weird. We know reverence. Somebody else doing some jogging. Okay, that was greedy of me to hog the road. Anyways, now we have that distraction. So if the reverents are being attracted to suffering, which is that's the description is, then the pages smell of suffering. Maybe less Stephen King and more Clive Barker. Yeah, definitely have to invest in more cardio for my guy. Good jumper, though. Now, this mutilated corpse. At the very least, we can prevent it from being, shall we say, eaten. Just need more respect for the dead. You don't count, you're still moving. Field of Nightmares. Zombies aren't the only killers about. This corpse has wounds that resemble those inflicted by a shotgun. Some marks in the body can even be from a chainsaw. Great, so we're fighting a bunch of horror icons. The victim was not mutilated by zombies. The killer or killers took little care to hide their tracks which lead to the nearby fields. Go there, investigate closer. So, yeah. Now, if the idea of finding horrors that are created by an author empowered by dark powers sounds a little familiar, well, that would be the first Lovecraft Country series I did, Alan Wake. still have to finish... Excuse me. Oh, there you go. Still have to finish the DLC for that game. But yeah, I think he went through this whole mission as a bit of a shout-out. Of course, we should probably meet the guy first. Kill fall scarecrows. Well, it is October, I guess. So the scarecrows are out killing people now. As I said before, they've probably been reactivated when this energy reinitiated Old Man Henderson's creations, these things. Probably like Jack, former humans stuck in this way, so there's probably a screaming human soul. Excuse me, sir. Oh! I got to see a spawn point! I feel special. Clyde and Bonnie? Ooh, you're actually a boss, or you were a boss. Need to upgrade my sword. I'm getting weak. There you go. That hurt. Okay, I think we've got another couple over here. Excuse me. Okay, you'll do. I see you're moving around there. That's good. The coast is kind of the site that prep schools is important to us. That should be one of your key action areas in the region. But don't let limit you. Seriously, there are like 100 places that need you to be right now, and expect you in all of them. Okay, so Kirsten's pushing us to the school, and we do need to get there. We've also got to find out what Beaumont is doing. I'll have to see which one ends up being closer. But in the meantime, we need to get back to the lighthouse. My poor sense of direction apparently has been causing issues, but let's finally actually head over to the lighthouse. I gotta admit, this is probably the best view, or would be if there wasn't a poisonous eldritch fog everywhere. As expected, the usual Drog evasion force down there below us, and I'm sure this bridge won't drop us at all. What? Another Wendigo? Seriously? Dude. Not in the mood. Oh, Sonic, stop hacking my, feed, would you? Right then. Well, this is quite the lighthouse. It's rather shaky. Power's still on, so I guess there's a generator here. Okay, so here we are. The lair of Sam Krieg. The horror writer. It's apparently decided to set up a survivalist camp on top of the lighthouse, which is probably what saved him, if you think about it. See, when the fog rolled in, this was above it. If you recall what the sheriff said so long ago, when we interviewed her, the reason she wasn't affected by the fog is the fact that she was in this room with Sam Krieg. So therefore, being above the fog, which doesn't actually seem accurate right now if you think about it. Well, I guess at the time it was a low-hanging and not just more of a general mist. She and Sam were unaffected, although the question is just how unaffected Sam was. There's a lot of bottles lying about, as it were, so I'm guessing he's kind of dulling the pain, as it were. So, let's see what his perspective is. A reasonable man. Sam Krieg snipes at zombies from atop the lighthouse. Helping him on the ground could lead to some interesting insights into zombie behavior. Sam Krieg laments all repetitive behavior as destructive and unreasonable. Anyone with any sense, he claims, would break the pattern and try something else. Attempt to find a way to break the pattern and see if the zombies can be limited with more effective means. Well, I've been setting them on fire, and that hasn't been helping, so let's see if Sam's got an idea.
99 filthy undead on the wall. 99 filthy undead. If one of them filthy undead were to fall. 99 filthy undead on a wall. The movies lied. They can take one to the head and keep on ticking. The dead keep rising, the buzz fades. Every day it's the same thing. Drink, shoot, ride, shoot, drink. Like a hamster on a wheel. Around and around we go. Do you ever do that? Keep going when it serves absolutely no purpose? When it's already clear you're not making any kind of difference? A reasonable man might say, this isn't working. I gotta change things up. He would do things differently, look for a way to break the cycle, find a way to give those things closure, instead of being stuck in this endless grind. But I write for a living. I make millions repeating myself. What's your excuse?
Okay, so we have a bit of confirmation that everything that we do kill comes back. And, Sam, don't work too hard there. Right then, so I'll meet you at the bottom. The stairs are kind of actually tricky. I've fallen a couple of times trying to get down them. So, hang on. Right then, here we are at the bottom of things. And I'm supposed to acquire flares from gutted fishermen. So my guess is gutted fishermen are one of the classes of zombies lying around here. Ugh. You guys are just ugly. Oh, loot. Ah, found one. Not even in the red zone. So I guess I just burn all of you. And another one. Oh, you're actually good for something at the moment. Come on. There we go. Gesundheit. Ooh, another set here. Ah, there we go. Somehow floating above the trash barrel. Ugh. Those growls seem rather nasal. Must be cold season. And let me guess, that's the fifth one. Use the flares to attract Sam Krieg's attention to a group of zombies. Well, the thing is about Krieg there, if he's in sniper position with a Winchester rifle, he is a hell of a shot. I mean, that is not a sniper's weapon. It's a weapon from the 1800s. But, let's see. How does one do this? Attract his attention with flares? Oh, there you go. Oh, hi, guys. Ooh. Oh, Sam, do I gotta finish this one off for you? I don't really need it, but what the heck. Alright, Sam, let's do that again. Come on, Sam. Faster. Faster. Alright, so this must be Carthiatic for you here. I'm acting as a spotter, which is actually what you do with a sniper. See, most of the time, sniper is too busy looking down the barrel in order to be able to pick out his target, so he relies on somebody else doing it. Which is apparently what I'm doing. I don't know if it's actually going to help anything. I'm going to guess these guys are going to respawn all over again. Ooh, there you go. Good ones for you. Okay, so... This area's pretty clear. Actually quite a nice hiking trail here. Good view. You know, in non, you know, Eldritch Abomination invasion times, I'd imagine it's a good place for a walk. There you go. collect the Why am I collecting the half-eaten corpses? I suppose these are what's attracting them. Still seems a bit futile. I mean, they're just going to make more. I suppose we can count this as, you know, preventing littering. Here, Sam, let me do it my way. A little bit faster. Okay, well, they will prevent, you know, contagion from spreading in the area, but I think that's the least of our worries. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Now I don't see you there. Let's see. You got one too? There's a few more corpses around here, I'm sure. You stay within the red zone, though? Oh, there's another one here. Well, you know, it's quiet for a little bit, but I'm betting I'll turn the corner, and yes, there you are. Now, Sam's little speech, like I said, is a bit meta on the people who play MMOs, because everything's always in a cycle. We grind, we get points for it within the game, but the question being is that, is this some sort of failing of humanity? Just stuck in ruts? You know, whether going to a job or killing zombies. Which right now is my job, so I guess I'm counting both types of that. To lure zombies over a bluff. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Yeah, even if you have a repetitive job, you can enjoy it. Yep. And I'm staking bodies out like a good barbarian. There you go. And go get it, guys. Oh, that was fun. Wait, what? Use a telescope? Interesting. Excuse me. Okay, telescope. Okay. Ooh, what are we looking at here? It looks like another filth well there. So I could take the path down, but activating bee powers. Hi. Now, if you recall all the way back to episode 3, what zombie Goliaths are regular zombies exposed to the filth, and we detected a filth well over there. Guarded by that big one. Ooh, it's, you know, good thing you guys aren't smart enough to coordinate. Of course, what this says about my intelligence is anyone's guess. Ah, stealing another dark well. It's probably going to be just as futile as it was with Priest Island, but... Oh, come on! Ah. Oh, filth explosion. Ah, God, you think... Ew. Just the noise. Well, let's take care of that, shall we? Yeah, I'm sure that will stop it from being an issue. I like Sam Krieg. I really do. His books always make me giggle like a schoolgirl. Well, that's probably light reading compared to her usual job. He's not even 100% wrong 100% of the time. Then again, even a broken watch is right twice a day. Unless you go digital, then we're down to one. Kirsten can get lost in her metaphors. Your focus in the black pool here was, of course, the correct focus. The dark matter has obviously effect on everything it touches, living and dead, and we're getting more and more reports like yours. I don't need to tell you that we prefer to be in front of the curve on this. That's the what. I leave the how to you. Alright then. But, you do notice that there's also something here. Somebody's been filling this stuff with barrels of this stuff. Barrels filled with thick, oily substance lie close to the dark well. The contents seem to cause erratic effects on all life and unlife on the island, and they warrant investigation. The barrels have been filled with the vile substance boiling in the dark well and lined along the paths and bluff, almost in a deliberate attempt to affect everything and everyone that passes them. So, need to get to the top of the bluff. I'm gonna cheat and teleport. Hang on. Okay, so here we are with a very disturbing house. Okay, then. So, we've made it to the top of the bluff, and it wants us to destroy these barrels. Okay, can do so. Good grief. Oh! Okay, make sure to use distance attacks next time. There's bodies everywhere still. Right then, so, let's do this. Okay, that was a little overkill. There's another set of barrels here. What the? Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, filth turns regular zombies into those things. I should be more careful about that. That's me being more careful. Right then, I'll clear you out first. Destroy the work. Ah, hi! Oh, shite! Ew. So, the filth infected a worker. Somebody who works here as a maintenance person, I guess, and then had them... What the heck is going on over there? Drog versus... Oh, that's right. Christian said that the filth removes the zombies from drog control, so the zombies and the drogs are enough. Those super zombies, as I'm gonna call them, and the drog fight. So hey, more of them that can take each other out, I'll be happy. But yeah, apparently this worker was whammied and then forced to fill barrels with the gunk and then try to set them next to areas where people would affect zombies to spread the process. But it's not terribly effective, so my guess is the filth doesn't think very well. Well, if there's one thing we know about these people with the barrels, is that they can't be too bright. Placing barrels and poison on the side of a road is a tactic about as sophisticated as, hey, your shoelaces are untied. Using this black substance to do a little spring cleaning on their hand doesn't necessarily qualify as a terrible idea. We'll have to learn more about it. Have the magicians do some field tests, but we should certainly look into it. Good thing you destroyed the prototypes, primitive as they were. We don't want anyone beating us if this pans out. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I work for an evil organization. The heck was that? They talk. That's just disturbing. What about this whole thing isn't disturbing? Ugh. Hi guys. Maybe that's their way of saying hello. Anyways, gonna pop over to see Sam again, just a moment. Alright then, so here we are back at Sam Krieg's little hidey hole here at the center of the storm. It's rather quiet after all. And I guess it makes sense if he is the progenitor of these horrors. I mean, if those are Alan Wake-style documents there, I suppose he'd be unaffected. Which makes me wonder if I'm going to see Barbara anytime soon. Life imitating art. Horror author Sam Krieg's worldview and his opinion of the secret world is as bleak as his best-selling novels. If a man's unkind muse is reacting to the events of Solomon Island, or was it predicting them all along? Krieg promised to do the same fate as the characters of his novel. It might be worth familiarizing himself with the grisly page-turners.
You know, you're just like one of my characters. You love evil. You don't run from it. You don't try to avoid it. You welcome it. You crave it. You invite the pain and you cherish the suffering. You dive right into the filth and you make no attempt to wash it off. And when you finally climb back out, it doesn't matter how bad it smells, how the stench and the taint cling to you. You just can't wait to dive back in. Like a dope fiend hankering for a fix, you don't want it to ever end. You need it. Your entire identity, your raison d'etre, is at stake. Think about it. Who would you be? What would you be without this? Without your precious war on evil, without your secret world, your sacred brotherhoods, your ranks and titles and rituals, you'd be just another rat stuck in the race with a dead-end job, living for a paycheck and the weekends. One long booze-soaked downhill slide towards the dark and cold grave. But you probably believe in what you do. Believe it's right, that it's good. You soak in it so others don't have to. You take one for the team. You bend over and spread your legs and let the darkness inside. And somehow you justify it all with utilitarian pragmatism. You're a bona fide American hero. Get the hell out of here. Go find an abyss to jump into. Go soak yourself in filth. Maybe it'll be different this time. Maybe you'll save them all. Maybe you'll finally find some goddamn peace. Some closure. You're just like every single character I've ever written. Fucked from page 1.
Well, with that meta-nihilistic screed, shall we continue? I mean, when he's looking straight at the camera, he is not talking to the character, he's talking to you. So he's asking the people who play this game, why do we play this game? Why do we throw ourselves into this harm? Why do we think of ourselves as a hero? You want a goddamn answer? I'll give you a goddamn answer. The lighthouse. Jonah felt an acute and intense sense of dread slowly overcome him as he watched the savage coast beneath. In the monotonous shadows of the cold, flickering light from the old lighthouse, he could see them coming from the sea, slimy and ancient beings of the most terrible nightmares, waking from their cold graves in the deep and slowly walking to shore. The time had finally come, and Jonah began to laugh hysterically to himself. Fear and wonder, he thought, fascination or plain insanity. Then he ran out to greet his inevitable destiny. Alright then, again, we know this time, if we're going to go down to the deeps, I am not going to bother with the elevator, okay? Because, tally-ho, B-power. Ooh, nice landing. 3 of 5 there. As you can see, the horrors are swarming below the lighthouse, so they don't seem anywhere near as dangerous as they were stated. Hello, B-powers. Oh, well, that was unkind of you. Usual selection of impregnated. I do like that image over there. I want to lure more of them over there. Anyways, yeah, Sam's question is sort of meta. I mean, after all, here we are playing a game in which it's in Lovecraftian sensibilities, which means it's probably impossible to win, that human life is meaningless, that our desires are pointless, and one day the evil will just sweep in and grab us. And, well, one thing to think about is this. Lovecraft was of an atheist bent. His belief was, in truth, yes, that there was nothing beyond death and life, and human existence was merely a shadow between two different phases of history. It's also his belief that, however, the only thing that was good purpose in life was to live it. I mean, if you think about it, he wasn't a nihilist himself. He enjoyed beauty and architecture, the creations of man. And in fact, in some ways, it's his belief that life wasn't this... Ooh, excuse me. Life wasn't a thing given value by some external agency. Life was something that was precious and dear because it was so rare. And that to simply lie down, to simply die, to simply give in to nihilistic desires because maybe it's meaningless, maybe it doesn't mean anything in the long run, is laziness. Do you need someone else to validate your existence? Do you need a purpose beyond what you choose to be? And if you choose to be the individual that stands between the horrors and the rest of the world, if you choose, like say being a first responder or being a veteran, to put your life on the line for the greater good, that is not something to mock. It is not something to laugh at. It is something that is worth celebrating. After all, he says, why rush in if you can't save them all? Well, if you don't rush in, you'll save no one. And frankly, there's already enough people sitting on their hands in this world. I don't plan on being one of them. Okay, so looks like we found the next novel, Undead, which, by the way, is the actual original name of Dracula, the Undead. Undead, Chapter 3. Allison just ran, refusing to look back. It was like one of those dreams she used to have as a child where she was being chased. She would run and run, but the harder she ran, the slower she was going, until the beast would catch up and she would wake up screaming in a cold sweat. She could hear them now, catching up with her as she approached the cliffs. She stopped, heaving for breath, and finally turned around. There they were, for this was no dream. The dead had risen from their graves, and now they were out for blood. Allison was all alone. It was do or die. If she could only reach the old junkyard, she might be able to find a car and get out of here. Well, there's a plan. Kill the zombies along the bluff? Well, that's a heck of a walk, so I'll just jump cut there. Alright then, here we are back at the bluff. And right next to the lighthouse, of course. Now, a quick note that not only is this an Alan Wake reference, the lighthouse in Kingsport, one of the two inspirations for Kingsmith, Innsmouth/Kingsport, from Lovecraftian lore, actually shows up in one of his early stories called The White Ship, which is technically a Dreamlands story, not a Lovecraft Mythos story. It's for free. I think I'll start including a link down in the description to Lovecraft, which is hplovecraft.com. In other words, there is somebody who's dedicated to keeping his works, which are in the public domain, for free in various formats. So I'll send you a link if you're interested. Now, as per the last scrap of writing we found down there, it appears that this particular book is called The Undead, and it is about the undead. Now, the undead are pretty common in horror tropes because when you come right down to it, the thing in horror, the thing we're really all afraid of, the thing that keeps us up at night is our fear of death. And these are literally the personifications of our death running around. And yet, they're also personifications of our fear of life, of slowing down, loss of mental faculty, the inability to make your mark for being in the crowd. Now, it wants us to find a junkyard. There should be plenty of those around. And if I recall, yes, according to the book, the main character was running towards a junkyard. Excuse me, guys. I'll kill you later. Or re-kill you later. So we found the junkyard. The Resident Horror. I wonder if that's anything like Resident Evil. Getting a lot of... Seriously? What are you doing here? Isn't there a junkyard for you, around here somewhere? The novel. Ah, here we go. George glanced over to Liza and contemplated his misfortune. Would the world ever give him a break? He shook his head and felt like crying, just like him to run out of gas in the middle of nowhere, just like her not to be amused. He stepped out of the car and looked around, hoping to find a miracle. It was getting dark, and the cold wind was whipping through the damp forest. A loud click. Were they not alone? Other cars around them, rusty and broken, a graveyard of crowds. A large click. An engine coughing to life. A light from an old barn. He spun around as Ezric screamed. The barn, he thought. They had to make it to the barn. Okay. The Resident Horror. Yet another junk golem. There we go. Ooh, that hurt. Teach me not to use my full strength. Okay, so each story leads us to the next story. The next one will be in the barn, obviously. But yeah, this one's probably a play on Christine. I mean, Stephen King's old classic about the haunted car. Now, if you've only seen the movie to Christine, do yourself a favor, read the book. It is like 10 times as good. You know, this is when, in the beginning, Stephen King had no pull, so he couldn't actually get a decent script. And, well, he still has that issue now. But at least, you know, there's just reason for him to. Dead people aren't much fun. There's the track team again. Okay, this looks nice. Well, let's take a bit of a break. Ooh, reverence. We've been getting a lot of those lately. They hold a special place among the restless dead, not just crudely revived clay, but the animate fragments of an evil life, devious and clever, the self-aware plague, the pestilent agency, terror and pain are their food. We speak of the murder of one, they speak of reverence. So yeah, evil sorcerers types that die can become reverence, and apparently there's a lot of them in Kingsmouth, and that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I'm guessing this guy didn't enjoy his copy. You know, some critics. Marked, Chapter 9. In the shadow of the sparking flame inside the old barn, he started the ritual. The virgin blood, the ancient symbol. Okay, that's harder to get these days, but try the incel community. He slowly started reciting the sacred text, careful to keep his rhythm even and his voice firm. Towards the end, he let his voice rise to a crescendo, closed his eyes, and tilted his head back, his arms restored to the realm of the old gods. Exhausted, he sank to his knees and looked at his magnificent creations. It was his masterpiece. At last, finally, he would keep his promise to his master. The old house in the bluff was marked. The trail of blood would never stop. Okay. So, I'm guessing this might actually be a reference to the Henderson, if you recall. Henderson's the one who created those... Oops, the rune's on the other side. Henderson's the one that created those scarecrows that keep churning out, and... Jack, too, of course, his greatest creation, I guess. So maybe this is a result of Krieg doing his research about the local legends, which he knew to be true. Or guessed to be true. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, there we go. My magic's stronger, and it's just creepy. You know, I use a metal focus for my magic and use a baby doll. I don't want to know about Henderson because apparently he's obsessed with his daughter. Ooh. I'll take that. And that's why he killed Jack. I mean, when you come right down to it, the actual horror for most of this is actually humanity using the dark forces for their own horrific uses. I mean, how many did he make? How many people did he kill for these things? Because I'm betting there's a human body in that thing, and I'm not capable of taking it apart to find out. Excuse me. Ooh, so back to the abandoned house. The marked domicile in that particular tome of horror. Now, it's a bit of a thought. Now, if any of you actually know the Dark Tower series, Manners, know that King's has a multiverse theory for his books, that all of these horrors can happen in parallel worlds, which is frankly just his lazy way of, you know, making up for his continuity errors, like completely forgetting what part of New York Alphabet City's in. Don't look at me, I don't know. Oh, we're back here at the draft? Interesting. Winalt Hidden World draft. That's just wrong. I think it's like the ghost of Shirley Temple. When all dreams have been dreamed, or the whispers whispered, you're left with nothing but one thing. Everything is true, which is it's disgusting. There is no dream, and the voices are not in your head. Only the chosen ones can deliver the world from evil. Only the children of the bees have the power to clean up the filth and light the torch that will eliminate the hidden world. Oh, hi! Corrupted secret worlder? So here's an interesting thought. Whoa! Apparently you're good at this. Not that good. What the heck? So, I'm a secret worlder, and I've been relatively immune to the filth due to my connection to Gaia, but Krieg apparently has a theory that we can be corrupted, which is not a good sign. Were we capable of being corrupted before Krieg said we were, or does Krieg just create that scenario? Because if so, he's not helping. Hello, spoilers? I haven't read some of these. I was waiting for the movies. Kirsten, always about you. But you don't need a psychic to know how Krieg books turns out. We keep an eye on him. He's been buzzing around the occult periphery for years. I say he has, but he's a replaceable starry-eyed Nubile assistance. Guessing in this world, he's not married to his version of Tabitha. Well, this actually makes sense if you know about Stephen King's history, is that Tabitha threatened to leave him if he didn't give up drinking and drugs. In our world, King did. In this world, Krieg probably didn't, which is why he's the biological wreck up we see at the top of the lighthouse. Innocence, well then, I guess this version just takes fans, makes assistants out of them, uses them up till he gets bored of them and sends them off, and I'm liking him less and less now. Innocence lost, everyone goes away with a dark secret, the man practices what he preaches. Yeah, me too. This prediction thing, though, right? Don't be rattled. We've got a roadmap for you, and it goes, weeks into the future. It's open to sudden shock endings, a.k.a. we'll probably die. Alright then, we got one more Krieg mission, and I'll spare you the long walk back. Okay, so apparently there's a line. Hello, dude. Okay, Sam, let's see what you got for me. Crime and punishment. Sam Krieg seemed to know a lot about the shadowy stickness that underlies Solomon Island's history. Trace the famous author's research onto the island and find the source of his knowledge. Tier 1. The lighthouse is filled with books and discarded papers. This room is the culmination of Sam Krieg's interest in Solomon Islands. Find out what first brought him here and trace the evidence back to his source of knowledge.
We may curse heaven for our fate, but hell is a device of our own construction. The Ebony Tower, #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 5 weeks running. We are the architects of our own destiny. There's no innocence, only ignorance. Nobody could ever accuse me of empathy, of genuinely caring for people. In fact, they'd probably say that Sam Krieg is a cold son of a bitch. And they'd be right. People don't interest me. The acts of people, now those are intrinsically interesting. Particularly the consequences of those actions. Cause and effect, crime and punishment. It's every book I ever wrote and sold 1 million copies of. So what did the good folk of Kingsmith do to deserve their fate? I tell you, they were evil. Kingsmith, Solomon County, pure evil, all of it. Like a modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah. Always was, from the moment the pilgrims stepped off the boat and set forth on these shores. There's a dark rot festering behind the flower print veil of the Labor Day barbecues, homecoming parades, and maple syrup. I should know. The deeper I dug, the darker the hole, the more I found. A goddamn abyss of foreshadowing. I've seen evidence of acts so cruel and demented, so twisted and sick, right out there, that people might confuse them for one of my books. And if you've read any of them, and I'm sure you have, you'd know that this place has blood on its hands, and plenty of crime to its name. I'm sure you know this one. Show a gun on the mantelpiece in the first act. Before the curtain goes down, it's going to blow someone's scrotum off. Upon the wicked shall fall a rain of fire and brimstone.
That is kind of an interesting way to look at it. Sam obviously knows that this area is dense with the filth. We don't even know why yet. We've already seen the filth come up. There's a well underneath here. There's one over on Priest Island. There's another one somewhere I've forgotten right now. But yeah, this entire area is soaking in it. This is even before the invasion. The Black Pool, right. The fact that the kids mentioned it in 1987 indicates that it was there then. So Sam came over to do some research and got caught in all this. And somehow he is being manipulated to create some of these horrors, or the horrors are affecting him. He's sensitive to them. I'm not sure which. I'm not sure it matters that much. First, let's check out this letter, because I think he's threw it away because he knew that mail's not getting through anytime soon. Okay, let me get a screenshot of this. Alright, so are you shitting me, Lucinda? Good for public relations. I think you're getting off by connecting me with these lunatic fans. I think you're hoping I'll kill someone. Wouldn't it be wonderful to bump sales and get rid of me in spectacular fashion? The fanatic you found is even more obsessed than that redhead in Tulsa. Sure, I got information off of him, but it took everything I had not to blow his balls off. Conceal carry much? Of course, with the Winchester rifle, how do you conceal that? I bet I could have gotten away with it too. Your Honor, look at this website this man has about me. Look at this picture I had to throw in the garbage. Note the pathetic eyes begging me to end his miserable life. I would also like to submit evidence his goddamn fucking town. I had to abandon my car at intersection because the gravel road with the stupidest sensible name I've ever heard became too narrow. And thank you for the GPS, Lucinda. It tried its utmost to steer me into a fiery death. I've had that happen to me before. Okay, so actually, check the map. The Sentimental Road is Lover's Regret, right here. But we don't even have to think about that. We have already seen his car. I passed it a couple of times already. So he wants us to find the car first, and I will spare you again the long trek out of this place. Alright, so here's Krieg's car. And there's the GPS. Right then, trade Krieg's route back to the informant. So my guess is that's new special ability.
Your journey has been calculated. Please exit onto a mapped road. Continue eastbound for 200 yards, then take the second exit. Prepare to turn right. Turn right and follow the road for 500 yards. Continue to follow the road. Prepare to turn left. Turn left now. Navigation is paused.
Alright then, so we're going to have to trace it backwards. I was making a couple of notes while it was going on here. But the first way we have to go to trace back to his informant here is in, of course, the way the back of the car is pointed. Now, there are a lot of... Excuse me. Sorry about that. Sprint's been delayed here. Okay then, so this is the only way that he could have come up this road. Interesting house. Looks like a nice inn. What exactly are you guys? Ambusher? Okay. You're red, so I'm killing you. That looks like more of those purple guys. I've been told that they're the Phoenicians, though purple doesn't seem the right color for sailors. Alright, so it's pretty easy to figure out where he's gone at this point. This is the only way his car could have gone. Goddamn runners. Do this lovely, lovely New England spot. Yeah, there are a lot of roads like this. Former fire lanes have never been converted over into proper roads, and you travel these things. Excuse me. Hey, you. Zombies. We have a no zombie policy on this road. As you see, we're right back here at the amusement park. We won't linger. Because I'm pretty sure he didn't drive down that part. Not exactly hardcore detecting here. And again, right past the entrance, the parking entrance here, back to the main road. Now, here's where things, you have to do some basic detecting. Now, going back over the list, it's going to be that we head left, because he turned right here. Oh, hey, fellow Secret Worlder, how you doing?
Special assignment received. Initializing.
Sigh. Hi, John. I'm sure we'll be talking later. I don't want to talk about the dead kids, though. But a haunted kindergarten just freaks me out, and John's just sitting there like, you know, I'm guessing he's been to far worse places. Creepy children are probably passé for him. But, yeah. Now, remember that he said that back in the letter, he threw the letter away in the garbage. Now, here's the deal. This is where the route starts. And if you notice, aha, there's a trash can. Ah, there we go. Sam drives in a robe. Oh my god, he has gotten to the point where he no longer gives a fuck, does he? I never forget this, Sam. Check out my site at samkriegsightings.wordpress.com. Now, remember, I can't get the browser up while I'm recording here, so I'm going to be doing this on my tablet while we're going along. We got to keep hitting him with the ugly truth. Yeah, he does kind of look like the typical Van, doesn't he? And frankly, of the two of these people, Sam, you're projecting a bit because you look like the one who wants to put out of their misery. Now, where does the informant live? It'd be in the picture. Hang on. Getting too noisy. Let's get that out of the way. Now, if you look at the picture, you have to match it to the houses. And that one doesn't match. But this one over on the left does. So essentially the photograph was done out front here, which means, yeah, there we go. We gotta find out where he lived. And wouldn't you know it, it's a basement dweller. Okay, now I'm gonna have to go to that website and find the number. Hang on. Okay, so if you go to the website, and I can put a link down to it in the description if you like, there is a collection of blog posts. I had to go through a number of them, so I spared you about 15 minutes of watching me read the internet. But it turns out his 4-digit security code come from his books. Now, every book in the United States has what's called an ISBN number. So there were about a dozen books with different two ISBN numbers each, and I got to play with them for a little while. But this is the correct one. Come on. The end of the Resident Horror ISBN 13. Which is 8237. Alright then. Let's enter the basement dweller's basement. Okay, so here we are at the creepy basement of a person who's obsessed with a horror author. And fortunately, there are no dead cheerleaders. This is good. Apparently, this is a nice basement. And frankly, given New England ground tends to be pretty much granite shelf, this is probably pretty pricey to dug out there. So, let's see. Comic books, library, pizza. Where's the Xbox? Seriously. I mean, I guess he's a PC Master Race gamer, but this setup is perfect for an Xbox. A couple of Sam Krieg's posters here. These are also covered in his book if you want to access that website. And a few more over here. But let's get to the business at hand. Let's hack the computer, which probably involves just turning it on. Hint, I guess, for the password. Okay, so I'm guessing since it's the ISBN 13 number was the one that allowed me in here, I'm going to guess that it's going to be the ISBN 13 number of Foucault's Pendulum, which is not something on his website, so I'm going to look up the real one. Hang on, guys. Alright then, so the password, last four of the ISBN 13 is 765. Come on, there we go. 7652? No, that's not right. Okay, how about the whole thing then? I guess he's not limited to a 5-digit code on a keypad outside, so he could have the whole thing. Ah, there we go! And we have now accessed Sam Krieg rules. Well, it looks like he's got some information on the area. We'll talk to Kirsten about it later. So what's it he knows about Kingsmouth itself? Solomon Island is a magnet for grimy souls. Is there any other kind? King Arthur's fibromia? Things that go bump in the night, occult ambitions and the soil's turmoil fed on each other like alien corals, like acne and depression. Perfect fit for Illuminati doctrine, maximum influence, minimum exposure, abandoned in the flight to New York. We never actually discussed that. When Kirsten's redesign onto things of the Illuminati in the corporate lines, underground corporate here, infiltrated by communists, honestly, I don't think there's any left of those. Island power hasn't waned, only feeds and festers. Okay, so the Illuminati was originally based here. We know that from what Kirsten said. We know it from the other hints about that. We know it from digging underneath the town hall. So it looks like when Kirsten revamped them under corporate lines, they left here, but the power the Illuminati was used or being used by was still here uncontrolled, which is why it's popping up over the place. If Kirsten's reforming it in the 1980s, as she seems to indicate in one of the texts we got, that means she indirectly could have been responsible for the 87 issue. Remember, they killed the old woman and the, well, not that old, middle-aged woman in the Black House in 87 when a Wendigo broke out, and the kids started trying to fight the monsters with the help of one of the sorcerers from Innsmouth, unknowingly. So the question now becomes, is the reason things are so bad is because nobody's in charge, or because the Illuminati was in charge for so long? Let's see if we can get any more information. The Academy. Founded in 1798 as a private boarding school, fund for something, smuggling the different devil's gifts, founded by Russian prince, run by the Illuminati. Rituals in every syllabus, rebuilt in 1850 after the Great Fire. I thought the Great Fire was 1712. Alright, that would happen before and right. So they had two Great Fires. This place burns down every now and then, I guess. Rebuilt in 1904 after the earthquake. Rebuilt in 1967 after the explosion. Yeah, it's kind of as bad as the X-Men's mansion. Soviets wanted it back, question mark. The most feared track and field team in the state. Well, yeah, they're out there still practicing, so you gotta admire that dedication. Henderson has always had talent for excruciating arts. Ooh, yeah, Henderson Farm. Always relentless, somber, volatile, broke from occult circles to build the farm. Why? Oldest son crushed, 1904, wife suicide, enter sorrow, dug deep into necromancy, thanatology, which is actually the study of death, which is not actually that an evil thing. Egyptian rites, both daughters died, injured madness and melancholy acts with a razor, so he commits suicide. But he created Jack. Did he kill both the daughters because he was obsessed with them and blamed Jack and turned Jack and Jack killed them? Too many questions, and I still don't have any answers. I don't know if I'm ever going to get any answers. Blue Ridge Mine, now that's new. Built during the mining boom of the 1870s, machines greased with blood. Well, you know, what corporate culture project isn't? Conflict with the Wabanaki. They had socialist sympathies. Mine was shut down. Wakanabe are the local native tribe, I know that at least. Reopened in the 1970s. Foreman shot the shaman. I shot the shaman, but I did not shoot the deputy. I'm sorry, that was awful. Project Protesters jailed. Yeah, timely that. Land sold to third party able to trace could be Soviet. Recently started quarrying at the site. Soils like skin, a limit to how deep our nails can dig. I'm guessing that's going to future. Atlantic Island Park. Maine magnate Nathaniel Winter, born Kabinski. Won't explain why he was turned away from the Illuminati if he wasn't a blue blood, just an immigrant with money. Bought the Henderson farm in the late 1970s. Wanted to build an amusement park, fund for Soviet missile base. Henderson's dark legacy in the air, Henderson's blood soaking the soil. Winter fast-tracked his permits, monies and connections, and pushed through all red tape and resistance hell-belt on children's amusement. You, dude, failed your perception check on that one, because I had let go all the spirits of children that he sucked dry. Now, remember, there were only so many deaths in that park, and a lot more souls than there were dead children, so may have just sucked parts of souls together, left very vacant-eyed children stumbling about. It's not just Ritalin overdose that can cause some of the problems. The Overlook Motel, that's the Hellspawn point. Motel built in 1960s, Shirley's Temple? Shirley. I'm guessing we can go back and find more later. Cold day in November 1986, a little American town doctrine. 5 guests disappears, 5 point in the pentagram, which could be what happened. We did notice that there seemed to be some ritual space in there. Iron Curtains, journalist been poking around. We know who that is. Cold War communications base, walls were known to be thin. Could potentially have been a sacrifice. Okay, Black House. Been there. Built in by 1974 by Kerry Killigan. Now, 1970 seems to be a hot spot. That's also when King started these books. So the question becomes, what exactly happened in the 70s? What culminated in the 1980s? The 70s would have been before Kirsten started her reforms. So at this point, from Miami, sorry, distracted. Timeline's a little nuts. I may have to look it up online to see if somebody's actually put it together. Single woman in Miami may have spent time in Minsk. Why? Locals did not. In 1974, the average odds of a woman spending any time in Minsk from American women spending time in Minsk and being allowed to come back are pretty low, kid. You're obsessed. Locals didn't take kindly to her arts, piled up rumors, torch-bearing mob, barred the doors and windows. The night we burned her down, were you there? You couldn't have been too young, unless this is your father's files. Now this party house for punks at Innsmouth. Frat initiation rites, beat the fright, stay a night. No one ever does. Well, it is kind of dangerous. You know, could you leave Carrie alone in death? Sam Krieg, born September 11th, 1951, history teacher, married 3 times. So this version of Stephen King, really the player. Anne Marie Ellsworth left him in 1983. Glasnost was a front. TV's right. Anne Marie Ellsworth would be a Tabitha King analog, and that would be about the time that she would have left him. So, coked up Stephen King marries TV star Bobby Mann, born Peninsula. You and your Russians. You're looking in the wrong direction for the Russian threat these days. Left him in 1986. Third wife, 11 Galvin, died of breast cancer in 2002. That would explain his depression. Writes letters to his dead wife. Loves Kashmir. Yeah. Hates the Habs. Must be a sports team. Mythanthrope notes all about the darkness in our hearts, the cadence of shit. Conspiracy buff, dominant theme is novels, people pulled in the abyss, drinking problems, writer's block, OCD. Yeah, that's definitely a Stephen King analog. Alright then, so this is what information that Sam Krieg's obsessed friend. Let's see if Kirsten's got anything to add to the mix. John Anderson. Okay, so that's the fan. So now we know who this guy was. We know where he lived. We know what he looks like. More importantly, we know that he knows too much. Ugh, I really hate finding these basement Illuminati references, especially when they're not that far off. Except for all the Cold War paranoia. The Reds are down with Ivan Drago. That's from Rambo 3, by the way. We have reason to believe Anderson left the island shortly after meeting Krieg. We'll need to find him and figure out just how much he knows. Now, how did Anderson know to leave the island? We'll leave the blog up for now. Maybe he'll try to log in from wherever he is. Also, fun fact. Also a KG breakfast. Yeah, the Sam Krieg breakfast has been referred to on the website, and here is, a few shots of bourbon. Alright then. So, we've come full circle. I've gone over the entire east coast of the island and gotten distracted from our original purpose of trying to find Beaumont, which is something that we probably should get back on, as the fate of the world may in fact lie upon it. So, this is Fantastic Worlds. Next time you see me in the next episode from the Secret World, we'll be pursuing Beaumont. So, back to the main plot, and hope to see you there.